Hello, thank you for joining us today, the Blended Families of Hillsborough County show, where family meets education. Today we're going to have an awesome topic. Our topic today is going to help us understand how we show up in our families as ourself. So let's go ahead and get started. First, we want to talk about family dilemmas. What kind of family dilemmas are you and your family experiencing? Different little things like children saying, "You're not my mom, you're not my dad." The relationship issues. All different dilemmas can cause a major impact in how you and your children show up in their day. So let's go ahead and move forward. To help us better understand the family system, we're going to be talking about Bowen's Family System Therapy. With Bowen's Family System Therapy, there are 8 major concepts that we need to understand in order to help us better understand how our family is constructed and how we are being functional in our family system. We have triangles in the blended families system. We also have a differentiation of self in the blended family system. We have nuclear family and emotions in the family system. We have family projection in the family system as a concept. Now remember, these are concepts that are taking place within your blended family system. We also have something that's called multi-generational process, which is another concept within Bowen's Family Systems theory. But some of the main theories that I would like to talk about when we talk about how the blended family system impacts education is sibling positioning, emotional cutoff, and the emotions in society. Okay, so let's start first with triangles. Let's talk about triangles and the blended family system. Now there's 2 different types of triangles. There's the triangle with just happens to be 3 parties in a relationship. Let's say a mother, a father, and a sibling. However, there's also something called triangulation, which I believe that is one of the biggest dilemmas in a blended family system. This triangulation occurs when there is disruption between a dyadic relationship in a family system that brings in a third party to either offset the anxiety within that relationship, or it can just hinder it altogether. So when you talk about triangles and you're thinking about your own blended family system, think about the different triangles that are within your family structure and what type of relationships are within those relationships. What type of meaning, what type of substance, what type of togetherness or distance is within the triangles that exist within your family relationship. Because how you fuse into that triangle plays a major role in how the relationships in that relationship of that triangle will impact the entire family system. The next, we're going to talk about one of the concepts of Bowen is the differentiation of self. Now this is really one of my favorites because the differentiation of self is how you fuse yourself into your family system. Some people tend to overly infuse themselves into a relationship in order to make things blend together. But that can be very unhealthy, not only for yourself, but it can also be unhealthy for your entire system, your family system itself. So if you are fusing yourself into your family to the point where you are pretty much just giving in to anything, really accepting anything just to keep down confrontation with other family members, then you have a very low self of differentiation. However, you have a high self of differentiation if you are able to fuse yourself into your family system while simultaneously making everything, every part of that family structure work together as a unit, where none of the members in the family system itself is being, let's say, pushed aside per se. Okay? Next, we're going to talk about the nuclear family emotional process. Now, when you talk about the nuclear family emotional process, that's pretty much everything that's going on within your family system. Let's say having another child born into the blended family unit. Let's say the divorce itself is causing issues within your family system. Let's say that there's other areas in one of the members' lives that have had a major impact on the family structure itself. You have to consider all of those things together if you want to truly blend your families together. Not saying that you're not going to have issues. All families are going to have issues, that's a given. However, if you're able to work through them better, work through them so that none of the family members will be, let's say, left behind or felt as though their input into the family structure does not matter, then that's when you have a good, healthy nuclear family process. Okay? But one of the main things as far as marital conflict is one of the biggest things that kind of hinders a blended family blending together. Marital conflicts, when they're injected onto the children are more likely to either keep that inside and take it with them out into society, or they may act out in other social settings. And as you all know, one of my major concerns is the social setting of education. I truly believe that our children are carrying their family dilemmas, their blended family dilemmas, into our classrooms. And that's pretty much why we're here today, because we need to get a handle on this so that we can help our children understand that they're not in this alone. Families can blend together and we can make this work. So we're going to have some really good topics throughout the whole show, the whole series of Blending Families through Hillsborough County. I want to make sure that you all write in, share your stories. Actually, I have a couple of letters. I may share one or two of them with you later on in the show. But for now, the main thing we need to do is to focus on the family system and family structure so we can get a better understanding of how we're showing up in our day, because of what's going on in our home. And it's very important that we put family first. So let's move on and let's go ahead and take a look at the family projection process. Talking about focusing on the children. A lot of things are projected onto our children that we don't even realize we're doing it as parents, as caregivers, as guardians. The family projection process, Bowen's family system theory, this concept talks about the child as he or she triangulates into relationships within the family, and it also talks about how the children may perceive themselves because of something else that's going on major in their family system. Family projection can be very important to young children, especially our school-age children, because they need to know that the relationships that they're building at home, even if they are having issues, and all relationships do have issues, but we can handle them and talk through them and make them a little bit better. Moving right along with Bowen's concept, there are other concepts within the Bowen's family systems theory, and we will talk about them when we come back from our break. We're going to be talking about the multi-generational process. And one of my favorites is sibling positioning. We're also going to be talking about how we as a society need to come together to help our children perform better in education. So stay with us. I'm glad you're here, and be prepared to write down some information if you would like to write into the show so that we could possibly choose your family structures dilemmas on the show. We would definitely like to do that when we come back. So before we go ahead and take our break, let's go ahead and take a look at one more very important concept. And I think this is important because I want you to think about this before we take a break, okay? And that's emotional cutoff. And I decided to go ahead and bring this up before we take our break because if you would like to call in during the show, if you feel that your family system, a family member in your family system has had some kind of major emotional cutoff, then we would like to discuss that with you. And if you would like to do that, please feel free to call 1-813-977-6800. Once again, that number is 813-977-6800. Now remember, that call-in is only for those who feel that they have had some type of emotional cutoff where they have just totally decided to distance themselves from the family unit itself in order to just get away from all of the dilemmas that are going on in the family system. So with that in mind, until we come back, remember, our children are our future, and we must help them lead the way. And remember that family is first, and we need to start there. Until we come back, keep blending. Blended Family Dilemmas of Hillsborough County, hosted by Christine Leishley Moore, where family meets education. Blended Family Dilemmas matters. Our children are disappearing from the classroom. Could the dilemmas experienced in a blended family unit possibly be the main culprit, or our children are deciding not to go to school? Currently, research reports that 7,000 students per day drop out of school. Where are they going? Our school buses are parked. Society need to help our children understand that education is important. But first, we must take a closer look at our family system. Blended family dilemmas. Our family structure is very important. We must understand how our family relationships may interact our children and interfere with their education. As a society, we need to help refill our classrooms and the hallways of our schools. We must understand that emotional cutoff can be very important and detrimental to our child's education. Our hallways are empty. The school buses are still parked, but we as a society must help our children not throw away their books. Understanding your family system can help your child. Please continue to watch Blending Families of Hillsborough County. Together, we can help save our children's education. Welcome back to Blending Families of Hillsborough County, where family meets education. Right before the break, we talked about emotional cutoff. Emotional cutoff is a very important concept to understand when we talk about blending our families together. I have received so many letters with families sharing that their family members no longer come around. They no longer participate in family functions. They do not attend family reunions. They do not even attend the normal holidays. So when we talk about emotional cutoff, what is that? What is emotional cutoff? What does that do? That is when a person, one of your family members, or maybe even yourself, have decided that you just can't take it anymore. You have tried everything to blend your family together. However, nothing thus far has worked. So instead of continuing your efforts in blending your family together, you tend to start stepping back away from family situations, family matters, family confusion, family disruption. You tend to just totally distance yourself from everything family, and you almost set up your own personal life without your family system. Now, what's worse about emotional cutoff is when you're in a blended family and you're emotionally distant from that family. However, you still live in the same household. How detrimental would that be to our children if they are living in a household where the family members are totally distant and not communicating properly? Could you imagine how those children show up in their school? Could you imagine how they show up in their classrooms? Could you imagine how those children show up in their day, just coming from all of that continual dilemma state from an emotional cutoff member in their family system? So keep in mind, when you're blending your families, that emotional cutoff can be very detrimental. And personally speaking, I believe that emotional cutoff is the most detrimental to a blended family system. So let's go ahead and move forward and talk about just understanding the system itself. Help your children understand that their immediate self is the individual person within that family system. And then they have the next layer, which is that micro family system, that environment. That's their stepmother, their stepfather, their biological sister, or non-biological sisters and brothers. That's that immediate micro family. And then they have another layer of families that influence their day, and that's the society. That's the society in which they show up in every day. So they just want to be mindful of the emotions that they carry with them outside of their home. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on, and let's take a look at sibling positioning. Sibling positioning is also very important. Could you imagine what it would be like to be the firstborn child and then be blended into a family, and automatically you're the third child on the list? Could you imagine how that child takes those emotions into their classroom? Could you imagine being the third child and all of a sudden you have younger brothers and sisters, and now you're the oldest? You're just propelled into that position in your family. There are major dilemmas that arise from that. So let's help our children understand which position they are in the family, what their role is in the family as a sibling. Just help them understand that their sibling position, just because it changed, does not demean their influence in the family system. Or if they were once the baby of the family, in a position of the last one born, and now because of a blended family situation, they become the older sibling, help that child take on some of those responsibilities that are expected of an older sibling. Don't just automatically expect your child to just be able to take care of a younger sibling when they've been the baby for the past, say, 5-6 years. Okay? Bowen has really done an awesome job leaving us some very valuable information on the family systems. Although he and his colleagues were talking about family systems, first families, which is considered a nuclear family, I think that since time has changed, where the family system is very diverse with cultures, We need to just unite those concepts and help us understand how the families of today are structured. Let's go ahead and move on to emotional process in society. Back to the emotional process in society. This is very important to help our children understand. Our children, once they understand the role they play in society, it will better help them develop their own differentiation of self. Once their differentiation of self has developed, then they can better show up in their day. Now, keep in mind that even if their differentiation of self, because of whatever reasons, because of experiencing so many dilemmas, maybe their differentiation has become low. But that does not mean, according to Bowen and his colleagues, that does not mean that it cannot be changed to high differentiation of self. Even as an adult, maybe some of you were raised in a blended step family situation. It could be possibly that your differentiation of self was low, but that does not mean that you today, as an adult, cannot change your differentiation of self to high and help you better present yourself in your day as well. Because in a blended family unit, it's not just the children that are suffering in other social settings. It is the parents as well. Just think about it. We have parents that are school teachers, doctors, nurses, janitors, all sorts of professions that are leaving distressed blended family households and going into their day with negative attitudes, negative behaviors, unknown to them, not by choice. So, moving right along, we've talked about emotional cutoff. Another one of Bowen's concepts is called multi-generational transmission position. When you think of multi-generational, you want to think of the things that were brought into your family system from your culture. In a blended family system, not only are you simply blending two different non-biological families together, you're bringing in other cultures from your family into that family system. And if you sit down and talk about that as a couple, as a family unit, as a whole, then the multi-generational transmission can be mitigated. It can be lessened and not impact the family system in a negative way. As a matter of fact, if you talk through it and accept the diversity in your blended family system, you can use it to work for your blended family and make it work better. Now, before we get ready to move on and talk about how some of the things you need to recognize in your blended family, I would like to take this opportunity to share with you a letter that one of my writers sent in to us. And she said that it's okay to share it on air, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. But when I talk about her letter, let's try to discern as a community, is this family experiencing emotional cutoff? Is one of the family members in this family unit suffering from low differentiation of self? Are the siblings in this family struggling with their sibling positioning? So, let me go ahead and open this letter here. And for this, I'm going to definitely need my glasses to read it. So give me one moment here. And we'll check and see what she says. Okay, she says, "Dear Blend My Fam for me, I am struggling to maintain my family unit. I do not know what to do at this point. My children in the family are being very rude and disrespectful. I get calls from my child's school every day. I did reach out and seek help. I have picked up a couple of self-help books for family. One of the books that I picked up is Steve Harvey's Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. I have read his book, but I do not think that it helps me very much. Please help me blend my family. Any suggestions you have would be great. And we're willing to try anything at this point because we're definitely heading for a divorce. Thank you so much for sending in that letter. Let me just say this first of all. I understand seeking out self-help books, but if you or a member of your blended family are having major difficulties, I strongly suggest that you seek some type of professional counseling, family counseling in your area. But make sure that that family counselor is well educated and informed on the blended step family system. Now, when you talk about picking up different materials such as books to read to help your family, and I see that you mentioned Steve Harvey's book, let me just say this. That is a good book. However, be careful because some things that you read are not good for all situations. And I'll have to especially say that about blended families. Be mindful of what you read. Now, I do have a book here called Blended Family Dilemmas. Are you making it or breaking it? And of course, this is my book, and it has some major scenarios in it that will help you understand some of the different types of dilemmas that may go on in your household. So if you would like to get a copy of that book, feel free to write us at Blend My Fam for Me, P.O. Box 1526, Seffner, Florida 33583. Once again, that is P.O. Box 1526, Seffner, Florida 33583. You may also order the book by emailing us at blendmyfam@yahoo.com. Once again, that's blendmyfam@yahoo.com. Or you can check Barnes & Nobles and online for the book. So, with that being said, please feel free to continue writing in all your letters. We will be doing a show for the blending families of Hillsborough County that focuses strictly on the letters that you send in. So we look forward to more letters coming in, and we just hope that we continue to blend our families together as a society for the benefit of our children. So until next time, thank you very much for tuning in on Blending Your Families of Hillsborough County, where family meets education. Remember, our children are our future, and we must help them lead the way.